Ever since I can remember, I have been fascinated by the animal kingdom, and essentially that's guided my entire career path since early grade school. I then did my Bachelor's of Science in Zoology at Duke University, and then my PhD in Animal Physiological Ecology at the Smithsonian Institution and the University of Maryland. And then after several postdoctoral fellowships, I became a professor of marine animal biology. And throughout my research career, I have essentially always tracked the animals that I study. So it was completely logical that I became involved in OTN's research program and took a leadership role in OTN.
My background is mostly in animal biology with some earth and ocean sciences. I was actually considering a career in veterinary medicine, but I started volunteering with the Ocean Tracking Network, and they introduced me to the gliders and a new career path that I didn't know existed.
Ever since I was young, I've always lived close to the ocean. I've been very interested in all forms of marine life, from collecting seashells and watching humpback whales as I spent as much time as I could on the water. I attended Memorial University of Newfoundland for 4 years to complete a degree in marine biology. I spent a lot of my summers trying to gain as much hands-on experience as possible.
What led me to start working at OTN was my undergraduate degree at Dalhousie in marine biology. I was really lucky to be accepted into the co-op program, so I was able to complete my third work term with the communications team.
My workday when I am directing science and operations at OTN is centered on working with staff, with other researchers, with granting councils and senior university officials. And it also involves a lot of strategy sessions and proposal writing to get more grant funding and also reviewing many documents. On the other hand, my typical workday when I'm doing my research in the field is completely different. And in that case, it usually means being outside in the field all day, working with the animals, primarily marine mammals and seabirds, catching them, taking measurements, perhaps fitting them with tracking tags so that we can study their life in the wild.
A typical workday for me, there's a lot of time spent in the office and the lab getting gliders ready to go out on a mission, but the most memorable times are always in the field when we're launching and recovering gliders. At OTN, we currently use two types of gliders, slocum gliders and wave gliders. Slocum gliders are torpedo-shaped, and they stay mostly underwater, so they can collect data from the whole water column, and they're particularly good for listening for whale calls and looking for whale food. While wave gliders stay on the surface of the water, they're shaped like a surfboard, and they are good for collecting storm data, as well as tracking animals that have been tagged by OTN researchers. Gliders are really important for ocean conservation. There are lots of areas in the ocean that are difficult to get to, and lots of animals or other marine organisms that you just can't study from ships or planes. But gliders, they can be out 24 hours a day for months at a time in any kind of weather, and you could send them to these areas that might be difficult or unsafe to go and otherwise too expensive for researchers.
As a member of the field team, I aid in the deployment and maintenance of acoustic arrays, otherwise known as listening lines, that track tagged animals. I work with researchers that would like to study certain locations or species in the ocean and help them with placement and setup for their equipment so that they can track these marine animals. This is important to marine conservation because we can collect data to better understand our ocean and what we can do to keep it healthy.
I think what inspires me most about working in ocean sciences is working with the animals themselves. In challenging environments, with challenging animals, and accomplishing challenging tasks. All have been wonderful, thrilling, and trying experiences that have taught me an immense amount about the world around us.
Working in ocean sciences inspires me because there are so many unanswered questions, and it's exciting to work in a field where your research could actually help answer some of these questions or make some new discoveries.
The ocean itself is what really inspires me working in ocean sciences. There's so many amazing species and interactions that are happening below the surface that we know very little about, and there's always something that you can learn, and I think that's really cool.
I have lots of pieces of advice for girls who are interested in going into a career in ocean sciences. And I think the first would be coming from my own experience, that there have been many times in my life and career that I have had struggles with difficult work, with difficult people, with difficult teachers and classes. But it didn't mean I had to give in or get up. Sometimes you simply have to roll a bit with the punches. The other thing is that you have to keep your mind open always for new opportunities, and sometimes in the most unexpected places. Secondly, I would say that there is not just one right path to a career in ocean sciences or to success in that career. It can take all sorts of twists and turns before it smooths into something. And I think the other important thing is that it's very important to remember that you can maintain a fun and well-rounded life as an ocean scientist. And I think finally and most simply, you can be what you want to be and have fun doing it. Obstacles are simply bumps in the road.
My advice to girls that are looking to get into ocean sciences would be to be confident in your ability to succeed and go after what you're passionate about. I think a lot of the times we can be our own worst enemy and it can feel like we can't get there, but it's just so important to go for it. And it's also important to learn as much as you can, either from the environment or books or videos, and reach out to people in your field of interest for ways that you can get experience.
Advice for girls interested in ocean sciences: reach out to people, ask questions. If they don't respond, try again. And also always be looking for some hands-on experiences. Those can be some of the most valuable.
My advice to anyone looking to get on a similar career path would be to get as much hands-on experience as possible, volunteer where you can, and continue to ask these very important questions of how we can keep our oceans healthy.
Working at OTN, I am constantly learning about really amazing research that is happening around the world. And I think that's what gives me the most hope, is that there are so many different people from different backgrounds that are all working towards protecting our oceans.
More people are understanding how important the oceans are to have a healthy, sustainable life. It affects the air that we breathe, the food that we eat, the climate around us. I think the younger generation is interested in this and becoming passionate to make some changes.
I have to continue to have hope for successful ocean conservation given the enormous and growing interest and awareness of the importance of the ocean globally. And I also have to have great hope for the essential next generation of young and interdisciplinary scientists that are coming out of OTN and other sorts of training programs. You truly will be our next leaders in ocean conservation.